What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Punk Rock Radar tier list video. And today we're doing Newfound Glory. It's Matt's pick. And if it's your first ranking video with us, basically what we're going to do is talk about each full-length album in the band's catalog, rank them between S and D, S being the best, D being the worst, and we're going to put at least 2 in every tier. So those are the rules. Matt, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, John. I'm trying to stay cool. It's about 96, 97 degrees right now. Have the AC on, but I think the heat is winning today. So hopefully it'll cool down tonight. But I'm doing good. I'm excited for this. And I just want to let everyone know that Newfound Glory is a newer band to me. I didn't really listen to them that much when I was, I guess, younger. Wasn't really in my scene, kind of. I didn't really like that style, but now as I'm getting older, I do appreciate Newfound Glory and the style that they do. So I'm excited.
That's very good, man. Branching out and trying new things. But I'll take us into this first one here, Matt. Nothing Gold Can Stay, because unlike you, I'm a very, very long time fan. I actually got into them back when this one came out. I remember downloading a handful of songs from Napster back in the day before the self-titled came out, and I really like this album, Matt, but I'm gonna hand it off to you first because I want to see where you put this one.
My name is a disappointment. I only disappoint myself.
Yeah, so I really like this album too. I think this is a solid first album. I mean, this was their first full length. They had I think an LP before this, if I'm not mistaken. I think. Or an EP before this. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong. But I do like this album, and I am putting this one in the B tier, John. I feel like this is the perfect B-list tier for this album. How about yourself? I think you're doing the same thing.
Yeah, I've got this sinking feeling that our lists are going to be extremely similar, which is okay. I mean,
yeah,
I feel like a lot of the Newfound Glory stuff is either good or it's bad. It's kind of black and white. And I think that's going to hold true in this next one. We're going to hit the self-titled that came out in 2000. And Matt, I remember right around the time this came out, I saw Newfound Glory with Good Charlotte, and they were both actually opening up for Phoenix TX. And Phoenix TX had an album that had been out a few years by then, but I feel like the Newfound Glory self-titled is really the album from that era that kind of was the catalyst for the whole Drive-Thru Records era that came through. Yeah. And we did a whole video on Drive-Thru Records. I'll leave a link for that down below. But looking at the track list for this one, man, I don't see a single bad song. So for that reason, this one's an easy S tier for me. Where are you putting the self-titled?
John, you can just put that one right in S for me as well. There is not a bad song on here. This is a solid album. I mean, all the songs on here, Better Off Dead, Dress to Kill, Sincerely Me. I mean, every hit or miss. I mean, every single song. I probably listened to this album the most when I was listening to them play through again. Like, I had this one on repeat constantly. Such a solid album, and this is going straight into S. Now, it's funny though. Did they open up for Good Charlotte and you said Phoenix TX? Was it?
I think it went Good Charlotte, Newfound Glory, then Phoenix TX, because Phoenix TX was around a little longer, and they had their album out before this. So yeah, that's what I was saying. That would never happen again. But
no, yeah, I was gonna say if I'm looking at that lineup now, that would be like Newfound Glory, headlining that. At that time, did you think Newfound Glory was better than Good Charlotte? Because I know Good Charlotte was around for a while, and they definitely did have some good songs and their style. But to me, I feel like Newfound Glory is better than Good Charlotte.
See, back then I was probably a bigger Phoenix TX fan than the other two.
Okay.
But now, Matt, I know you haven't come around to Good Charlotte, but all 3 of those bands are some of my favorites nowadays. And I'm going to do Good Charlotte and Mest eventually. I won't ask you to suffer through that one, but guys, that's coming. But Matt, I will ask you where you're going to put the follow-up to the self-titled Sticks and Stones that came out in 2002.
Yeah, Sticks and Stones, the follow-up to the self-title. It just should be a shocker to no one. This is going straight into S. This was the perfect follow-up. I feel like the quality got better from, the self-title to this. I feel like the songwriting got better. The instruments sounded great. This is an absolute S tier. I think there's no debate about that. Sticks and Stones has to be S. This is like, to me, this is like newfound glory right here, this album.
Yeah, we're starting off 3 for 3, man, and there's very few albums that I remember the exact
Mhm.
place and exact day that I was when I heard it, but this is one. This is back in the days when it was New Music Tuesday. It wasn't Friday yet. And I had a history final that day. We were juniors in high school. I was in Mr. Drenick's history class.
Oh, Mr. Trenick. I remember Mr. Trenick.
And he used to call me Slim Shady because I had bleached blonde hair and I was a shady character. But I remember waiting to get out of that history final and picking this up, driving to media play, and just being blown away with like how far the band had progressed, like how big of a step this was from the self-titled. And
Yeah.
the self-titled, I said, is one of my favorite records of all time. So this one I like even better. So I'm right with Matt, S tier. This is one of my absolute favorite records. So yeah, after Sticks and Stones, Matt, they go right into Catalyst. So where are you putting Catalyst from 2004?
Yeah, so we know we can't put any more into S tier, but I feel like Catalyst to me they kind of dropped the ball a little bit on it, and I'm putting this one in A. I feel like this is a solid A album. It's not as good as their self-titled though, or Sticks and Stones. I feel like maybe the front half of this catalog's great, and then as you get towards the end of it, it starts to fall off for me. And this one I kind of picked and choose songs to listen to after listening to it, a couple times through. When I would come back to this, I would do a lot of skipping. But this is still an A tier for me, this album.
Until the end, catalyst, you insist to pull me down.
All right, we're 4 for 4 now, man.
Oh my, this may be a first.
Yeah. Like I'm looking at the track list. You got All Downhill from Here,
Mhm.
This Disaster, Your Biggest Mistake,
Yeah.
Failure's Not Flattering. It's just tons of fan favorites. But like
Yeah.
you said, this is the first album I can't get all the way through. There's definitely some filler in the middle. And then
Yeah,
you
that's
have
what I was looking for.
I Don't Want to Know, which can knock it back an entire tier for how bad that song is. But when you lump in the 4 songs I said, then you got No News is Good News on the back end. It's got to
Yeah.
go A. It's still a really, really good pop punk album. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going A here. And Matt, like we said, we don't know each other's list, but I feel like the trend is going to continue with
Yeah,
the
it
next one,
is.
unless you've got a real surprise in your pocket. But I'll start us off with Coming Home.
Okay.
Because, Matt, as a punk rock fan, there's like a few red flags that we see when a band is talking about their next album. They'll say, number 1, it's our most mature album to date.
Yeah, that's always an instant red.
Number 2, all of a sudden in interviews, they're influenced by Sunny Day Real Estate, Promise Ring, The Cure. All of these influences come out of, like, seemingly pop out of thin air. And number 3, they start to say they're being pigeonholed as a punk band. And Matt, unfortunately for us, all 3 of these flags were flying high when the first
Yeah.
couple singles from Coming Home came out. So for me, Newfound Glory kind of goes from that steakhouse band to a frozen dinner band. I'm putting this in the D tier. What about you?
It's not your fault, so please stop your crying now.
Okay, so I actually put this one in the C tier. I feel like there's some albums that I liked less for this, so I put this one in the C tier.
What did I'm surprised, man. Like for me, it's got Oxygen, it's got Taken Back by You.
Mhm.
But not much else. Like, was there any particular song on here you liked, or just overall?
I think just overall, like this is just a C to me. It is bad, but to keep our list different, I'm gonna have this in C. And I'm sticking with it. But yeah, I put this one in C. I feel like there was 2 other albums that I thought were worse than this.
Hmm.
So that's why I put this one in C and not D.
That's fair. I mean, I'm glad we're a little different. For me, it's just weird. It's like they don't want to be pigeonholed as a punk band. Like, is being
Yeah.
a mom rock band that much better than being a punk band? I don't personally see it, but
Yeah.
to each his own. I know some people are like coming around to this album, so if you
Mhm.
like it, good for you. But Matt, what about the next one? It's kind of a pretty abrupt change here. Tip of the Iceberg taking it
Yeah.
over. Why don't you take us
So
into it?
yeah, I wish this is the new style they were talking about when they wanted to change their style and they felt like they were being pigeonholed. Well, they should have turned into this kind of band then, because this album rocks. I couldn't put it in the S tier because I have Sticks and Stones and self-titled, but this one is a classic to me. This is going straight into A. No if, ands, or buts. This is an A all the way. They're a great hardcore band.
Chromax at the Ritz. I'll never wanna go.
Yeah, all right, we're different here too. And like just for context, guys, we know this doesn't really make a ton of sense to be on the list, but
Mhm.
in our group of friends, we were kind of more of like a skate punk, street punk crowd. So like it was extremely rare if we were going to be in the car blasting Newfound Glory or Good Charlotte or anything like that. But when this album came along, Matt, you and Lewis were both living in Albany, and I think I was driving up like every weekend, and this was like the soundtrack to like 2008. So
Yeah.
there's the context for that. Like I'm also with Matt. I love this album, but I'm going B. Just to mix it up, like there's one
Okay.
more Newfound Glory album I like a little better than this, even though I think this is a phenomenal record. I wish this was the direction they took instead of Coming Home.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's weird. They're so like they always talk about their hardcore influences and all that, but
Mhm.
this is what we got out of that after Coming Home. But Matt, I'm gonna take us right into the next one, which
Okay.
is gonna be Not Without a Fight,
Oh, just that I found a note in my pocket and read, I don't ever wanna see you.
which came out in 2009 on Bridge 9 Records. And this one, we just did MXPX a little while ago, and we talked about after MXPX released Before Everything and After, there was a lot of backlash. So they had to revert to their old style. Even maybe their heart wasn't totally in it, and they released Panic. But to me, this is Newfound Glory's version of Panic. It just sounds like kind of thrown together, more like purposefully punk rock sounding. But to me, it just kind of sounds like Catalyst B-sides. I mean, there's some good songs on here,
Okay.
like Listen to Your Friends is a good song, but it just, to me, it doesn't feel like it got the TLC the early albums did. So I'm going to put Not Without a Fight in the C tier.
Damn. Okay. I'm totally different than you in this one. I love this album. I think my favorite song is I'll Never Love Again off of here. I think it's great, that song. And I actually have this one in an A tier, John.
There we go. Nice.
For some reason, this album just like stuck with me when I was playing it and listening to it. I felt it was catchy. Again, that one song, Never Love, I think it's Never Love Again. That one just like, that song's awesome. It rips. I feel like it rocks. So I'm putting this one in the A list right there.
I didn't see that coming. Like,
Yeah.
for me, like, I feel like it's on Bridge 9. It's got that album cover. I
Mhm.
expected it to be a little heavier. Like, to me, it just,
Yeah.
I don't, it's a lot like Catalyst to me, but just not up to snuff of Catalyst.
I
But,
thought it was a little faster, a little more up tempo, more faster pace than Catalyst. That's why I think I kind of put this one in A too. I was like, okay, I can see the similarities to Catalyst, like you were saying the B side, but I felt it was just a little more faster and it has some better sound to it. I felt like.
that's good, man. I'm glad we're mixing it up. The later
Yeah,
half
there we go.
is getting some diversity. What about Radio Surgery, Matt, from 2011?
I can't get your face out my head. It makes my brain.
Radio Surgery from 2011. I wasn't a big fan of this album. I didn't come back to it. I think I played it twice, and this one's in a D list for me. I'm not a big fan of Radio Surgery. And I see your face. I think this is your other A.
This is my other A. Wow, you're putting Radio Surgery in D?
Look at that. So but you put. Oh wait, you put Not Without a Fight in C, right? Or D?
I put it in C.
Yeah.
This is easily my other A. Like, I think this is their most misunderstood record by far.
Okay.
Like, they set out to kind of make like a Ramones influenced album,
Mhm.
and bands play Ramones core for like 30 years. Like bands, that's like a style. And I feel like most bands don't even ever make an album this good in that style. And this was kind of their first crack at it. Like it just to me feels like early Lookout Records style with a little Newfound Glory flavor mixed in. Like if some random band had put this album out on a tiny little label, I feel like it would be praised. Like I almost guarantee it.
Okay.
But because it's Newfound Glory and because they kind of stepped out of their box, and I would say they definitely played it safe a little here, but I love this album. Just like looking at the track list, Radiosurgery is good, Dump is good, Map of Your Body.
You know what? I may have to use a mulligan now that you're talking about it. If you don't mind, if I can use one mulligan. I haven't used the mulligan in a while.
You
wanna
haven't.
I want to switch my C and D.
So you're gonna put what is it?
Radio in C and then Coming Home in D. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're
Honestly,
doing that.
that makes a lot more sense.
There we go. We're doing that.
It
Now
makes a
that
lot of
looks better.
sense.
Okay. You convinced me. You sold me on it when you were talking about it.
It's a good album, man.
Yeah, it is. It is.
All right. So up next, I'll take us into this one. We've got Resurrection or Resurrection Ascension if you bought the deluxe. And it sounds like it should be a Christian metal band's album more than a pop punk album. I don't know what's up with that. What's up with a lot of the album titles down the road. But this is the one I struggled with most. I think it has probably the best production. Like the guitars are awesome. The drums are awesome.
Totally agree.
Ready and Willing is probably my favorite song they've had since the Catalyst days. But the middle of the album is just so filler heavy. And man, I'm still debating. You know what, man? I think this is a lot like Not Without a Fight. It's got like that one good song, like the one standout. I'm going C on Resurrection.
Yeah, I'm with you on this, John. I feel like you said like the quality of it was probably the best, like the recording sound of it, but the songs I couldn't really get behind, so I'm putting this one in C. I did have trouble with this one too, trying to figure out where to put it.
All right. Well, I'm assuming you did not have trouble with the next one because I know I didn't. Where you put in Makes Me Sick.
Makes Me Sick is going right into the D. I don't even. It just makes me sick listening to this. That's why they named it. There's like I don't know, like this band had like more tambourines than I feel like Sonny and Cher in their albums, man. There was what's with all the tambourines on these tracks? I felt like so I listened to this probably like I'm gonna be honest, John. I probably listened to 7 songs and then I just turned it off. I didn't get to the last 3 songs because I was feeling too sick.
That's probably enough. I mean,
Yeah.
You remember that red flag checklist? You can
Yeah.
probably imagine what they were saying when this came out.
I don't wanna know you. I don't think we should talk anymore.
But
Oh yeah.
I remember I got this on release day and I hated it, but I'm a big Newfound Glory fan, so I probably listened to it close to a dozen times and I just couldn't connect to a single song. I still can't. I actually plan on making a joke about the album title, but I'm glad you took it over because I warmed up to this slightly over the last 3 weeks. Like I think Call Me Antisocial is probably the best song on here. But with that said, I'd be completely fine if I never heard this album again, and it was very, very easily the D.
So, what's the difference between Makes Me Sick and then Makes Me Sick Again? Is there extra songs that makes me sick again, or what's?
Yeah, you'll notice a pattern here in the later records. It happens again with the next one. They seem to like issue the album and then like 6 months, 8 months later, they put a deluxe edition out, which to me is like a slap in the face to anyone who pre-ordered your record. But it just seems to be what they do down the road. Like this one we're gonna do next, Forever and Ever X Infinity is now X Infinity and Beyond for the deluxe. And yeah, like in this album title, man, like the last Resurrection was bad, and this one sounds like they pulled it off a Lisa Frank binder. I don't know what's going on with these album titles, but Matt, what about you? Where are you putting this last album, Forever and Ever X Infinity?
I'm probably gonna get heat for this, but I put Forever and Ever actually in B. I didn't think it was that bad. I can listen to it. The quality was good. Um, there is a lot of songs though, 21 songs, which is a lot. It's an hour and 7 minutes, but I put this one in B, John.
I'm between C and B. Like this is like we got lucky here. Like with 11 albums, we can kind of have one tier. So it's
Mhm.
like I could either be nice or I could be mean. And this one's tough. Like I think this is better than Resurrection. I think it's better than Makes Me Sick, and it's better than Not Without a Fight. But the problem for me is that Resurrection has Ready and Willing. Not Without a Fight has Listen to Your Friends. This one overall is a better record, but it doesn't have that track, like the standout. And also the lyrics are horrible on this. Like that basketball metaphor and greatest of all time, it is questionable at best. But you know what, Matt? You had your mulligans, so this is what I'm going to do with this one. It's going to go right there.
Let's-
It's going to be a
Okay, I like that move. That's a power move, John.
it is a B minus C plus record. It's not as good as the B's, but
Yeah.
not as bad as the C's. So Matt, that's it. We blew through this one too. How do you feel about your list overall?
I feel like my list is solid. I mean, our lists are pretty much similar, but maybe for 3 albums, I think, or so. But I feel like I feel like the S tiers, like that cannot be different. Like anyone else that does a list like this, I don't know, you have to have those 2 albums in that S tier. It has to be for Newfound Glory. That's like Newfound Glory right there. That S tier to me.
Yeah, when I talked to Lewis about this, and he said his only S would be the International Superheroes of Hardcore. But
Ugh.
I agree with Matt. Like, if you listen to all these albums,
Yeah.
and I don't know how much nostalgia is factoring in, but like there'll be times, like for example, we're going to do Face to Face next, and spoiler alert, some of those older albums didn't age as well as some of these older albums for me personally. But yeah, I'm content with my list. This is kind of where I saw it sitting all along. I knew the albums I like. I knew my top 4. I knew that Nothing Gold Can Stay was a good album, but not a great album.
Yeah.
So I'm good with it, man. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
No, I mean, I had a great time doing this. And again, like, Newfound Glory is newer to me, so maybe some of my rankings are skewed by that as someone like, you listen to them for a while now. But yeah, I had a great time doing this. It was definitely a fun time.
All right, guys. So that's going to do it for Newfound Glory. Up next, we've got Face to Face. And then we haven't decided actually what's next. Either Good Riddance or Strung Out. One, maybe New Use for a Name. One of the Fat Wreck bands we'll do next. But that's it, guys. Make sure you're subscribed so you get all of our new videos. Leave a thumbs up, comment, let us know how bad we did. Even though I can't see any feasible arguments with our S tier. But if you have beef with Coming Home or Makes Me Sick in the D tier, first of all, you're wrong. Second of all, put it down below in the comments, and we'll see you guys next time.